Also, our friend Dr. Joe Congini from Akron Children's Hospital. Good morning, Dr. Joe.
Hey, is this Gene?
It is.
Hey, Gene, how you doing in the big seat this week? How's everything
I,
going?
I'm doing well, thank you. So, what did you want to
Great.
talk to us about today?
But I have two quick stories that really have energized the sports medicine team. One locally and one nationally. And everyone's talking down at our office about the national story. I wanted to just start with that, and then briefly about the story that was in our area here. There was a kid by the name of Mackenzie Milton is his name. And Sunday night, a lot of people were watching. College football was back. And this quarterback played at University of Central Florida and had a very serious knee injury around Thanksgiving of 2018, Gene, all the way back in 2018. He had an injury called a knee dislocation. And we see them occasionally, but apparently his was one of the worst that they'd ever seen. And he ruptured the artery, injured the nerve, and tore all the ligaments in the knee
Oh,
with
wow.
this injury. And the knee was almost not attached. And a surgeon apparently told him that there was the chance that he could lose the leg from amputation, and there was talk that he'd never walk again. And he had to have 3 separate surgeries that year, one with a vein graft to put the artery back together, one to rebuild the ligaments, and one to repair the nerve. And over that year, he had the surgeries, and he rehabbed for 3.5 years and switched schools. And Sunday night, he played his first football game 3.5 years later against Notre Dame on national TV. The game went into overtime. I'm a Notre Dame grad, and I was really kind of rooting for Florida State because the story was so compelling. And the people watching the story, if you see Mackenzie Milton this year, you'll know that it was very improbable he'd ever be on a field again. But sometimes with young kids, amazing things happen. And this story has really made the rounds of Mackenzie Milton. Great story. But locally here on Friday night, we had a story maybe not quite as dramatic, but it had to do with our medical team at Sports Medicine at Children's. We have a young man who had a series of unfortunate knee injuries. It's been 2.5 to 3 years for him, too, with multiple surgeries done. And he started as a freshman at Hoban High School when they had all the real promising career as a freshman. And just with all these injuries, he had never played. Our medical team would go up there and see him in the winter and the summer, and he'd be rehabbing. And gosh, what's this kid rehabbing so hard for? Is he ever going to be able to play in a game? And Friday night, this young man, I asked him last night, and he was thrilled for me to use his name. His name's David Vincent. He, in the Walsh-Hoban game, of course, went into double overtime, and he scored the winning touchdown, recovered a fumble late in the game, caused a fumble in the game, and it just makes the medical team happy to see how hard he worked to get back from these knee injuries that he had. And another thing about the sports medicine team, it's not about the scoreboard and winning and losing. For the most part, it's about keeping kids safe and healthy and having a positive experience. But both of these stories, I think, showed about heart and resilience and hard work and being against the odds. And many, many kids have had these situations and it doesn't work out for them. But here were 2 stories that happened this weekend that were really heartening, one local and one national, where things did work out and good things happened because of hard work and persistence on the part of these young athletes.
You know, that's really inspirational to me. I had a recent injury, certainly not the same type of injury, but I have been, struggling to rehab with that. And I've been telling myself, if I work hard at it, and I keep dedicated to it, that I can see some response. And it sounds like that's the truth of it, that you just have to stay with it no matter how hard it is.
Isn't it hard sometimes to have hope? I mean, you wake up and you see just a little progress, and it's hard sometimes to see the long picture of weeks or months before you'll be okay again. In these 2 guys' case, years. For Mackenzie Milton, 3.5 years he hadn't been on a football field, and yet he had that hope every day when he got up to work hard because it was going to work out. And so, yeah, it's the same kind of story as yours. Have that hope, Gene, that you're going to get back to where you were before and keep working at it.
Well, that's my hope. I mean, maybe I won't be back exactly where I was before, but I'm hoping that I'm going to be in a better place. And I guess that's what we're talking about. We're talking about staying focused and keeping that belief that if you follow the best practices that you get at your sports medicine place or your, rehab place, if you're not an athlete, that's really going to help you on down the line.
That's really part of the job for medical people and for our medical team is to keep, not only telling people what they have going on, making a diagnosis, trying to help them through it, but also really trying to keep their spirits up, tell them what the game plan is, help them through that game plan. And so this was just a culmination of a couple of those stories that I wanted to tell your audience about.
That's excellent. Thank you so much. Dr. Joe Congini, Akron Children's Hospital Sports Medicine, with some inspirational words there about, that hard work and keeping with your program can lead you to success. And of course, in the case that he just told us, two young men really made it work after years and got back out there on the field. And that's an excellent story to share with us. Thank you so much, Dr. Congini.